Hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of Dark Souls PvP and another weapon showcase. This time I am using the Mailbreaker, and I had stupid amounts of fun using this thing. I am not gonna lie. I have liked this weapon for a long time, and that's because it's a good weapon to use as a backup for when you're learning how to use another weapon. So say you wanted to learn how to use, I guess we'll use a Crescent Axe as an example. Let's say you wanted to learn how to use the Crescent Axe. Well, to encourage the use of that weapon, you should use something that's familiar enough with the moveset to still be useful, but weak enough to still encourage the use of the weapon you're trying to learn how to use. So, in my opinion, that's where the Mailbreaker comes into play. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not an ideal weapon to use as a main weapon, and right there I heard that little suspicious sound of a homing crystal soul mass being cast. So, yeah. Now, there actually are a few points in time in this video where I will use the Hornet Ring. You will see me put it on, and it's in a gank situation. I fought against two of them, two different groups of people, and it was surprisingly successful, actually. Now, this weapon, it's not really, in my opinion, meant to be used as a main weapon, but on that note, it can be successfully used as one because its critical damage is amazing. Now, sure, I am using the Hornet Ring here, but even without the Hornet Ring, it still does over 700 damage on a critical. So, because of that, it's very useful if you get a backstab, if you get a riposte and a parry and all that. It's very, very, very useful right there. I missed what that number was. Whatever. Point is, it does good damage on the criticals. So, that's really kind of what you need to aim for if you do intend on using this as a main weapon. Now, I, for the most part, am using this weapon with the Leo Ring. As I said before, I only used it with the Hornet Ring in the ganking situations. I did accidentally leave it on for one fight, but I didn't include that fight just because I felt bad and then I threw the fight, so whatever. Really though, this weapon, its main purpose, in my opinion, is not to be a main weapon, because its damage output is so stupidly low, it's not really that viable. Now, with this weapon, with the Mailbreaker, it is a quality weapon and one of the lightest weapons in the game. It only weighs half of a unit, weighs 0.5. That's really good. It also has a D scaling in strength and a B scaling in dexterity, so that's also pretty decent. But you gotta keep in mind, its damage output is really low. For me, the AR on this thing is only about 260. So, after the opponent's defenses are taken into account, you're not going to be hitting very high. So that's kind of where you need to take advantage of whatever you can, whether it be a Leo Ring, whether it's going for the criticals. You just need to take advantage of whatever you can with a weapon like this. So, I guess I would have to say the biggest pro of the weapon would be the amount of damage it does with its criticals. Its moveset really is great for the kind of weapon it is, just because you can block, you can turtle poke with it. That R2 attack is not very useful, but I like trying to get it, just because it's a good feeling when you do actually end up getting it. I like it, but that's just me. Really though, biggest pro of the weapon is the fact that its criticals are massive. For this kind of weapon, at least. I mean, an AR of 261 and still doing over 700 on a critical, that's pretty good. Hitting over 1,000 when you use the Hornet Ring, can't complain about that. Now, the cons of the weapon, it doesn't do very much damage, it's short, it doesn't do very much damage. That's definitely the biggest con. I mean, seriously, an AR of 261, that's kind of bad. So, really, as I was saying before, not ideal for a main weapon, but, oh well. You can do little tricks like that with the thrusting swords, where you do a parry, put your shield up and poke them, and then go for the riposte. That was something that I found out how to do reliably a little while ago, actually. It's just a nice little trick to sneak in some more damage. I mean, you can do that with a Hornet Ring, definitely get your damage up there, especially because when they are parried, I am fairly certain when their shield is off to the side from the parry, it counts as an instability hit. So there's that. That's definitely a nice little thing. Right there I got a decent bit of counterattack damage with that R2. Definitely a rare moment, not that impressive of a number for the damage output, but it is what it is. Really, I guess the main thing about this weapon, in my opinion, is it's meant to be used as a weapon when you're trying to encourage the use of another weapon. That's really it, in my opinion. Its moveset is familiar enough to be useful, but weak enough to encourage the use of your main weapon. And that's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. Some weapons in this game can take time to learn, and to keep yourself sane while doing it, you might need a secondary weapon to just sort of take the pressure off of you a little bit. This one will still encourage the use of that main weapon, but be better. Also, if you're using a weapon, say like the broadsword, that does not do much on its criticals, you can have this weapon in the offhand slot, switch to it for the crits, and do more damage that way, because this thing does do a very good amount of damage with its critical hits. So, that's definitely a good thing. Now, other potential little uses for this weapon, you can offhand it. It's decent at that. It's not any better than any other thrusting sword, so I don't really see why you would. Aside from the fact that it's relatively, well, not relatively light, aside from the fact that it is the lightest. So, anyway, this is actually the last fight in the video. Just to quickly recap, biggest pro is that its criticals do a lot of damage, it encourages the use of other weapons, blah blah blah. Other than that, works with the Leo Ring, works really well with the Hornet Ring, of course, but cons, it's short, it doesn't do much damage on its regular hits, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm just gonna go right here. You can enjoy watching me finish off these gankers, and I will see you next time.